you talked about it briefly. You dropped this record. I would call it a cult classic. Definitely one of my probably top 5, top 10 albums. Some amazing features, amazing records. From the outside looking in, it looked like everything was successful. Like on the outside looking in, I mean, again, I'm 12. Like,
sure.
You say I'm 12, 13.
I mean, it looks like that to a 30-year-old too. Yeah. Go ahead.
But there was no. It just kind of seemed like you just kind of disappeared. You know what I'm saying? So we talked a little bit about it. The situation. You're signed to By Storm. By Storm is. Imprint, right? Imprint
production,
of Universal
production situation.
So what does that mean? Is that do you know? Did they have a 50-50 with Universal?
I don't know what their deal was, but they were their By Storm. Universal was By Storm's distribution, basically.
Similar to like a Cash Money Universal situation?
Absolutely.
Okay, so they were just Universal at the time is just shrewd and just buying up, not buying up, but partnering up.
Because at that particular time, Universal knew nothing about hip hop. Like myself, McGruff, A+, Cannabis. Lost Boys, we're like the first wave of hip hop coming through that channel. Okay,
and this is before they merged with Interscope and Def Jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're signed to By Storm. By Storm is going upstreaming through Universal, and then you start working on a second record. But apparently, it's this word that a lot of people don't know what it means, and we don't talk about it enough. Really, they told you were unrecouped. Is that essentially what happened?
Well, essentially what they said was By Storm owed them. They were unrecouped. So
they cut the check to By Storm. By Storm,
and it trickled down. So they said, okay, cool, we're gonna cut our losses. By Storm, you're free to go, but we have to have an opportunity to recoup our money back. So what's your most valuable asset? At least this is what was told to me. Well, the most valuable asset at the time was me, because they had other artists that came out on the label, but I guess because of the success of the theme, the hottest commodity that they had was me. So the natural thing was, okay, you can go get your own situation, but we're gonna keep Trey to try to recoup our money. I don't know if I really believe that, you know what I'm saying, because I still have questions as to, how were you allowed to go By Storm and go get yourself a situation somewhere else?
But you're signed to By Storm.
Yeah, and I'm signed to By Storm, but you allowed them to keep me. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't a situation where you could have negotiated something and brought me with you. Hadn't, so that's neither here or there. But nevertheless, I get stuck on Universal. And so to me, that was a death trap, especially hindsight looking, because now I have no representation in the building. And it's frowned upon because I was the type of person, and still am the type of person that like to be hands-on with my business. Right. And so it's frowned upon for an artist to be in the rooms with the presidents and the marketing team and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't really want the artist to understand what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And so because of that situation, eventually they gave me a budget to do another album. We did another album, Live from the 215. That's when I said we did records with cats like Kanye, and we had Corrupt on the album, and Buckshot on the album, and Black Rob, and D-Dot, executive produced everything. We released a couple of singles. We released a record called Go Ahead. We released a record called We Like, where the video was shot by Brian Barber, who was the director of all of Outkast stuff, and he also directed the movie Idlewild. We had a Ludacris on in the video. We had a.
He was early on a lot of this stuff, right? You in terms of the Kanye.
Oh yeah. No, these were before people even knew who Kanye was and who Ludacris was, and Lil Jon in the video. They had no clue who these guys were. And so after we released that video, I went to Miami. Never forget it. It was the winter 2001. They doing ads in the Source. I'm thinking the record's about to drop and all this other stuff. And so I get back from Miami, and that whole Miami trip was an omen because it was raining, it was cold. I get back to New York, and we were supposed to be down there to do a show. The show got canceled, all that. So I get back to New York, and all of a sudden my phone rings. And it's somebody from Universal, and they say, we hate to inform you that your services are no longer needed.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? We have a severance check for you, come up to the office whenever you get a chance. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh. Crazy. So it hit me like a bag of rocks. I ain't gonna front. You know what I mean?
So your service is no longer rendered, but you can't release that music. They still own that music.
Nah, they still own the music. They still own the master. They paid for it, rightfully so. But it was never released. It got shelved. That 215.
That's so stupid. Like, you would think that, like, if you're at a label, they want to let you go, like let you keep the music and put it out.
I would think so, especially if you're not going to do anything with it. I haven't seen any of those records anywhere since.
Yeah. So switching gears. So then I'm assuming because of these situations within the music business, because of, hey, I'm signed to By Storm, but By Storm gets to leave, I have to stay on Universal, and then I get shelved. You transition and get into law, entertainment law.
But not immediately.
Okay.
What happened was I had to find my way. Like, I had to figure things out. You know what I'm saying? I wound up going back to my mom's crib, right? And so at my mom's crib, you know, I stayed there for about 3 months. She said, sure, come on in. But then after about 3-4 months, you know, I'm 30, almost 31 at the time.
Okay.
She's like, you got to go. Like, I don't care where you go, but you got to leave here.
Yeah.
So I wound up going to Atlanta with my brother, moving down there. He wound up going to grad school, so he moved out. So, you know, I'm still trying to figure out my way. I met a young lady down there that, you know, we kind of shacked up, for lack of a better term, and I'm still like getting down to my last money. I was always good with money, so I kept, even though it wasn't the kind of money, I wasn't bringing in the kind of money that I thought I was going to bring in off that Many Faces album, but I still was able to, you know, last a little bit. And so I got down to and this is my spiritual moment, I get down to my last $7. And so I'm thinking to myself, what I'm gonna do with $7? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can go to get a last meal and that's it. So I went to, you know, church, right?
Really?
And I dropped that $7 in the plate. You know,
crazy.
It's like, God, I'm just leaning on you.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And so I used to always go outside, you know, at this particular time and kind of take walks and kind of, you know, get into my spiritual side and just listen. No talk, just listen. And so it was like, it wasn't almost. He was speaking to me through nature. He was speaking to me through the trees rustling and the wind blowing. And I was hearing, you know, just certain things. And one of the things I heard was, Trey, you've gained all of this knowledge from the game. You've been through the turmoils. You've been through the trials and tribulations, man. Let's use that. Let's use that on the other side.
Wow.
Go to law school.
Wow.
And so after I put the $7 in the plate, I'm broke. I'm like, how am I going to go to law school?
Yeah.
Well, I get a call from Wayne Barrow, who's the president or vice president of By Storm, who's Mark's cousin. Gives me a call on the phone and says, hey, Universal Publishing has a check for you, but they don't have the right address. You know what I'm saying? Call such and such and da-da-da-da. So I called them, gave them my address. Maybe about 4 or 5 days later, I get a check in the mail for $7,000. That's not it.
That's crazy. So you gave 7 and got 7 bands back.
That's not it. So then, you know, I get that money, blase, blah, so it gets me back on my feet. Now, you know what I mean? I begin to, you know what I'm saying? And then 2 or 3 days later, I get another check in the mail for $57,000.
Really? Crazy.
You know
and this was from Universal or just like
Universal?
Wow.
And so that was me paying my student loans back from Howard. Now I got money to, you know what I'm saying, to go to law school. Now I begin to prep for the LSAT. Come to find out, after I take the LSAT, you know, my aunt, you know, talks to somebody at Southern University Law Center. I get a scholarship to go to Southern University Law Center fall of 2003 and graduated in 2006. So it was not just an immediate go to law school. It was some soul searching, it was some soul digging, it was some spiritual things going on, and this is what happened.
So you go to law school, entertainment law, right? That's kind of the emphasis.
Yes.
And you practice law.
Yes.
And how was that?
I didn't go in full-fledged practicing. You know, after I passed the bar, it was, you know, at first trying to find a mentor in the game to kind of bring me along. And, you know, that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. So then it became, you know, piecemealing of sorts. You know what I'm saying? I shout out to my cousin Adrian and his wife. They, you know, had a situation where they were doing some things with a lot of clients out there that people may know, like Solange Knowles and Kelly Rowland. I think at the time, you know, Solange was DJing and stuff like that. So I would do, you know, managerial contracts for her. Same thing with Kelly. I did a deal with a company that they represented. Jen Bowie, shout out to Jen Bowie, did a company that they represented, Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? I did some deals with them. Young Guru, I did some contract negotiations with him. You know what I'm saying? And that's my brother. You know what I mean? Me and him went to Howard together. So I was piecemealing a lot of situations, using my skill and my trade to be able to, you know, gain some money in that manner. But it was never a full-time situation where I had my own firm and things like that, because I didn't want that. I didn't want to, you know, one of the things that I figured out in law school is that a lot of these kids that were coming out, they were going straight to firms, and their quality of life was shot because they were in these firms, you know, 18, 18 hours a day, coming home, you know, just long enough to get a cup of coffee and then going right back in the office. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying?